Hey everyone.
What's up? Finally, we can see some fucking grass now.
Yeah, snow's melting where we are. It's short weather.
Just like how short our patience was with this movie. In more ways than one.
Real quick, let's just give thoughts on the first one because, well, that was... I doubt anyone's gonna go back and watch our review on that and wonder, I wonder if that holds up. It doesn't. I was way too forgiving to this movie when I first saw it.
The first one.
The first time. Upon rewatching it, not recently, but upon rewatching it a while ago with my dad, who himself kind of ruined a lot of that movie for me, pointing out a lot of its flaws, a lot of things that I otherwise just kind of overlooked the first time because I was just so enamored by all the giant monster
robot fights.
Yeah, I mean, okay, in that regard, the movie's still not bad. It's enjoyable. It's fun in places. And it has a whole lot more merits to it, which are highlighted thanks to this garbage movie. Okay, I want to say that just on the basis that there are giant robots and giant monsters in this movie again fighting it out, and we don't get very many movies like that. I want to say on that basis, well, at least the movie still has that. But
it has bright colors and punching and sound effects.
But
yay.
God damn, does this movie try its damnedest to get you to hate it? I mean, really, it gets to the point where the giant monster fights are not worth it. Really. And they're not nearly as much fun as they were in the first one. And I'm not trying to say like the first one's a masterpiece or anything, just that things were done so much better. I mean, that's all I can really say about this one. It's given me a whole new It's given me a whole new appreciation for the first one.
Okay, I didn't need too much appreciation for the first one because for me it was serviceable enough as an action film alone, but it was just, for me it was more enjoyable because luckily it was an action movie that knew how to throw in spurts of comedy and not have it be distracting or annoying in the gravest sense. Yeah, some people thought it were like moments of it were stupid and that it didn't make sense, but at least they weren't too much of a distraction from the core material, which was the action scene and just being around the likable characters. With this one, Pacific Rim, they don't even put 2 in the title. Sequels nowadays are so ashamed to actually try and use numbers in their titles.
I'm pretty sure some white collar jackass said that you can get more money out of people by not alluding to the fact that it's a sequel, by not putting the number 2 in it.
And really, this movie isn't gonna try and detract people from it. It's so fucking standard. Like, with the action scenes in this, and I don't know if you mentioned it already, but they make the Jaegers so easy. They make it seem so easy to pilot these.
Yeah, in the first one, they made it very clear that piloting these Jaegers is hard. And you know the
only excuse that has is that it's been 10 years since the first movie.
Yeah,
that's
so
it.
You imagine technology has improved at least slightly by then, but then again, I don't know why we're so ingrained to like the Jaeger program, considering that the war is over. The Jaegers are gone, and as far as we know, there's no like potential threat. I can understand, like, yes, preparing yourself for whatever may be out there in the future.
That's just what I was about to tell you.
But they really do treat it as though like we have an incoming threat in a very short amount of time, and despite that too, the only pilots in the world are stupid kids.
Well, okay, yeah, they try and pass off for some reason all these pilots died in one of the like second act attacks where we find out one of the twists. And oh yeah, the only way to fill in the remaining pilot slots at this very last second is through their recruits. The recruits that they took in as cadets, they call it. Yeah, because you really want to try and make something seem like the actual military in this. But yeah, they take on the cadets, and apparently they're the only other people that have the enough experience to be able to pilot these things.
Which, if we're going by the first movie rules, I mean, we'd be good as fucked, because, you know, even people who've been training with these for a long time have difficulty with them. It's not like I said, they make it clear it's not easy to pilot a Jaeger. And they also make clear that even with the Jaeger, even piloting it with perfect precision, taking down kaijus is hard. And the fights in the first one were very intense because of that. I mean, I'll give a lot of credit to Guillermo Del Toro. He said in one of the behind the scenes thing, he wanted to make clear that every single kaiju has the ability to like rip apart a Jaeger if they're not careful. What's going on?
No, it's okay. But yeah, just trying to keep that element afloat. This movie goes completely against that, because I swear to God, this is like Transformers, where the robot fighting is like the actual strategery of it, and actually trying to use weapons at your expense, because what the honest trailer for this describes it perfectly. Stuff your inner 9-year-old will love. Giant robots, giant monsters, giant robots punching giant monsters, using a shipping crater as a baseball bat, and using shipping craters as brass knuckles and a ship as a baseball bat. Yeah, they don't even try and play around with any of that fun nature, I guess, because they already get predetermine the weapons for these robots. But yeah, the fight choreography, it goes down to like the Michael Bay formula of just having CGI creations and just having them fight like real life people in a fight, except it's just a bigger environment, therefore making your action that much more standard and boring. And I make another connection to the Transformers movies, because the first Pacific Rim, yeah, it usually got a good positive response out of people just because it was just a fun summer action movie with a bit of comedy. That was, at least at the time, the general consensus for the first Transformers. But then the second Transformers tried to get it down to a formula, which that felt like what was the case here. Just have there be a general formula, follow the chain of events, and then just have a happy climax at the end. Maybe someone will die in the middle, maybe they won't, but in the end it'll all be fine, because the happy ending is always in sight. You fucking schmucks think we're stupid, don't ya?
As my problem with a lot of movies as of late, yes, the comedy in this movie is awful, and there's a lot of it, and it is in clear abundance. Oh my God. It's the attitude of there is never a wrong time for a joke. There's never a wrong time to make a quip, to turn something funny. The first one had comedy, but it knew when and where to use it.
With likable people in the scenarios that they would be in.
Right. I'll get into the characters later, but just every single goddamn scene of this movie forces in some stupid joke that in no way benefits it from it, and it just, God, it gets so infuriating, because you don't even know what you're supposed to be feeling. Like, okay, they want to make clear that the world is supposedly ending in this, like, this is humanity's last stand, but there's always time to be like, that's bad, right? I don't get it. It's like everything has to be silly. Everything has to be stupid, which makes me not care about the events that are happening. This happens even in the middle of the kaiju battles too, which again takes away from the intensity and just makes everything seem stupid and like it doesn't, like nothing matters. I say that a lot. I say that a lot about every movie, but it's true. You gotta have a handle on your comedy. You can't just, it's like you write these down on Post-it notes and just slap them randomly everywhere in the script, anywhere where there's an open spot for it.
They patented it, they packaged it, and now they're selling their product.
Where is that from again? I forget.
Jurassic Park.
Oh, okay.
You patented it, you packaged it.
Why is the focus so Oh, God. All right, I'm sorry. My camera's acting up.
So yeah, so for me the main definition of this is just standard. Since they take out every character from the first movie, the only person that returns is Mako Mori, the Asian chick.
Which she doesn't stick around for very long. I'm sorry.
She gets axed, and her only purpose is to not get our lead guy in jail, and just to give them a destination of where the drone that killed her was from. Oh yeah, and they try and do some stupid commentary about drones and how only one person will have control over like surveillance of the Earth.
Lazy commentary, you know.
Very lazy.
It doesn't.
The evil boss lady who has the stern, who you know she's evil because she has the stern face and she's focused and she speaks in monotone and tries to sound threatening and give vague threats, but you obviously know something's wrong with her. Ooh.
But hey, shock of all shocks, they subvert our expectations. She's not the one behind all the bad shit.
What a twist!
It's Charlie Day.
It's fucking Charlie from Always Sunny. He's the only reason that anything happens in this.
I'll just say this about this movie. Genuine compliment here. I like the way they subvert our expectations here and tie it into the first one in a way that, you know, is believable. It might be slightly retcon, but okay. I buy it. What happens? You remember in the first one where he neural links with a kaiju brain, and that's how they figure out how to destroy the portal once and for all. But something was left behind when he linked up with them, and now he's got part of the precursor, I guess,
stuck in his brain.
I guess hive mind. Yeah, he's part of the precursor race now, and for the last 10 years he's been trying to take over this. He owns 38% of this company that makes Jaeger drones, and he's been secretly putting in Jaeger blood into them, so that
growing Jaeger brains, so that the robots are just robot Jaegers.
Yeah. So that
no, robot kaiju.
Yes. So that he can open up portals all over the world, bring in the kaijus, destroy humanity and all that stuff. That would have been,
I'm going to take over the world.
That would have been I would have been fine with that if it weren't for the fact that Charlie Day is such an annoying twat in this movie. Which he wasn't in the first one. You said that he was essentially a comedic relief, but
he was likable.
But he's one of those good comedic reliefs, the ones that are more like characters. He has a place in the world, but more importantly, he has an off switch. He doesn't spend every single fucking moment of his time on screen to be silly and over the top and everything. He knows when to shut it off. He knows when things are getting serious and I got shit to do. That doesn't happen in this fucking movie. Charlie Day is one of the more annoying aspects of this movie, along with our main characters. Now, the first one didn't have the most interesting main characters,
but at least they were
not annoying.
They were serviceable.
The important thing for me is they were not annoying. Like, I told you this before we turn on the camera, but my threshold for these kinds of movies, these giant monster, giant robot, whatever, what have you, movies, you know what you're getting into when you watch them. You know that the human element is more or less a distraction from the good stuff. So my threshold for success is fairly low. All I ask is that they are not intrusive and they are not annoying. For example, Kong Skull Island. Characters were not annoying, they were not intrusive, and occasionally they were even kind of badass,
but even though sometimes they might have been stupid, they weren't terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't not anything like this movie. This movie is exactly that. Characters interrupt everything, and they are so fucking annoying. Our two main leads especially are really bad. I'm sorry. Who's the guy? Who's the guy who plays Finn?
John Boyega.
Okay, his best movie remains his first one, Attack the Block. He fought aliens in that one better than this movie. Better than in this fucking movie. Please come back. Thank you. Okay, I really gotta turn off the autofocus one of these days. I'm sorry. It's just because I'm lazy. then there's a little girl you see in the trailers. Well, maybe actually I don't know if you do see her in the trailers much.
I wouldn't know. I barely watched any trailer for this.
I don't remember. I really don't remember seeing her all that much, and I think that was done on purpose because she's annoying as fuck in this movie.
I didn't think she was that annoying. It's just she wasn't given anything interesting to say. Like, she could have been like an interesting character if they actually took time to develop. If they took time to develop any character, they only develop one character, and it's all from the basis of, oh, I am not my father.
Well, actually,
I am not my father. I am not like my father.
Well, they did try to develop the girl, but they did it they did it in a way that just kind of repeats exactly what they did in the first one.
Yes, she's basically just American Mako.
Right, they do the Neuralink thing, and she has a flashback to her childhood of being, her family being killed by one of the kaijus and everything. And even, okay, this fucking irritates me. She builds her own Jaeger out of scrap.
Scrap and spare Jaeger parts. But then again, that's what Boyega is doing. Like, after he left or got kicked out, whatever. It's a little confusing how he left the, I guess, military.
I don't think you should be able to build these things by yourself. That's like saying, I'm gonna build a rocket ship.
Hey, some people are smart enough. Some people might be smart enough to do it.
Okay, but she's a kid. She's a kid living by herself.
They never specified what age she was.
You wanna tell me that she suffers from littlest genius syndrome? Okay, fine, but she's not anywhere near likable enough of a character for me to get behind that. Okay.
I guess.
And we also don't get anywhere near a good supporting cast like we did in the first one. I mean, the first one had, besides like the likes
Charlie
of
Hunnam with being one of the leads. You got Idris Elba.
Yeah. Hellboy.
Ron Perlman.
Yeah. Who has the best line at the end.
Where is my goddamn shoe? He's not even back for this. Again, the only person who returns is the person who played Mako when she dies right away. There's no Charlie Hunnam, no Ron Perlman. The only two other people that return are the quirky scientist guy and Charlie Day.
Yeah.
And yeah, the quirky scientist guy, he's fine, but he doesn't have as many funny things to say as he did in the first one. Well, and he was actually funny in the first one.
Yeah.
Yes, he was quippish in the first one. But it was right quips.
Well, I mean, they had a important thing is they knew when to put a cap on it.
True.
This one is just completely unleashed. Like, jokes everywhere all the time. Doesn't matter what the scene is. Doesn't matter what we're fucking doing. Doesn't matter what tone we're going for.
Also, okay, so this movie spoiled its own twist even before it happened halfway through the movie.
Well, I wouldn't say it spoiled it, but it really did raise a lot of questions. But,
so
go ahead.
Like midway through it, there's the inclination that this evil Japanese business lady is like a bad guy trying to set up something regarding
she wants to put drone Jaegers around the entire world,
bringing in lots of money for the business.
I don't know why. It's not like we have an immediate kaiju threat.
It's just evil business lady. Money.
Okay.
But so they're leading you on to think that she's the bad guy in all this. But then at some point we go back to Charlie Day's apartment where he previously mentioned in the movie that he had like some form of wife. And he's basically doing improv in his apartment, holding a bottle of booze, which is probably the fuel that fired that scene. But yeah, he just goes around and starts talking like the wife is actually there, even though she obviously isn't. It's what he considers a wife is the kaiju brain that's just sitting in a tube. And yeah, he's like, oh, wow, he has one of these. I wonder what he's doing with it. Oh, yeah, he uses it like recreational drug use, like, by just putting it on his head and like, let's rush.
I mean, okay, that was weird. I wouldn't say it straight up tells me it makes him a bad guy.
But it makes him have some sort of affiliation.
Well, right. I mean, earlier in this movie, there's protests of people that say they're kaiju supporters. What?
I did not see that. I did not see that.
There were people protesting the Jaegers because kaijus are the superior species in my family. What?
Hashtag Kaiju Lives Matter.
Oh my god! These fucking things are trying to wipe out humanity. Your fault.
They have souls too!
Oh my god. Again, just this movie is so fucking stupid.
No, but okay, here's a funny thing though. Since I've watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the show that Charlie Day is from, the first thing that comes to my mind when he's just quickly putting on something to get high, basically, I think of the episode from It's Always Sunny when they do Dayman. The five of them literally try and like write a play or like a musical, but the first rendition of it is called Nightman, and it's very, very rapey. But then so then Charlie gets kicked off of the like team. He goes home in disgust and starts huffing paint. Like he sprays spray paint in a sock and like huffs it, and then he comes up with Dayman. Oh, fighter of the night, man, king of karate and friendship. That's what I immediately think of. He's not trying to get high. He's trying to get inspiration for a musical number later in the movie.
Well, you know, the comedy in this movie was so bad up to this point.
You'd welcome it.
That I was. Well, no. Here's the thing. When he was in his apartment alone talking to himself, and he's like, I forget, what does he say? Like, it's like, oh, you want some time alone in the bed? I honestly just thought, oh, he's talking to his dick, and it's just gonna shut the door, and I honestly thought that's where they were going with it.
Well, he would have had to have talked down like this the whole time.
I don't know. It's God, just everything about this movie. Just again, besides the giant monster fights, again, we don't get much of that. So I want to say, well, at least those were fun, but everything surrounding it is so bad.
And okay,
it's like
I wasn't affected so much by the external badness. Granted, it was a factor, and it did decrease the likability of the movie as a whole. But I just found it too standard, and the plot of this is really jumbled. They go from location to location constantly, and they don't develop anything. The direction for this is so fast-paced and frantic that they have no idea of either the tone or the direct even pacing they want to go with. With the first one, you actually took time to look at the lead characters, try and create chemistry. The people who are writing this think that chemistry is made instantaneously because our two leads, the girl, she meets up with these new recruits. Oh, she's friends with all of them, except one of them who had to work all the way up.
You ever seen any military academy movie? Well, there you go. It's this. You've seen half this movie, I'd say.
Pretty much.
Because there's, of course, you don't belong here. It's like, well, maybe I don't, but maybe you don't belong here either because you're blah, blah.
This dialogue is awful.
It is.
Oh, and they constantly try and go back to like the big epic speech that Idris Elba had at the end of, well, not nearly the end, but before the climax of the first one. And they're just like, oh, today we cancel the apocalypse. And, okay, they try and make fun of it when it's Boyega's turn, but then he turns it into his own thing, and it's even worse because he's only talking to about 7 or 8 teenagers and not an entire army base. Do you have any of your priorities straight, movie? Huh? Answer me! Yeah, I didn't think I would hate this. Well, okay, there are so many worse movies, but this one just was so dull. Yes, Pacific Rim, the sequel, is dull. Simply because there's too much, well, I wouldn't say too much going on in the action scenes, but not enough for you to get invested in, and not enough, jumbled, relatively boring at times, and also as inconsistent as the camera we're using.
Yeah.
And that's another word, inconsistent. It thinks that it's playing with your emotions because it can change on a whim. Oh, and we also didn't have the best theater audience for this.
Okay, God fucking damn it. Okay, this theater was practically empty. We got
The supersized screen.
for once we got
Super duper.
we got one of the IMAX size screens in here, but of course we had just one stupid fucking kid sitting right next to us, and it got so bad that we just got up and walked to the other side of the theater.
Okay, so here's the thing. Extra big ass theater. I choose the row that's like halfway up and then go close to the aisle because, just in case. But then the like small section to the right of us, a whole family just makes its way up and directly sits right across from us and not even possibly in between the spaces, like longitudinally. And this one kid, okay, I try to give lenience to kids who are in movies because they're young, they don't know any better. But even when we had finally moved to the other side of the theater, I could still hear him during the action scenes just going, ah!
His parents didn't make a single fucking attempt to shut him up. They didn't say anything. I'm more mad at them than I am him.
That's a whole touchy issue that...
I mean, okay, then we were sitting in the lobby and a whole army of like little black kids coming out crying. Like, what the fuck kind of theater is this?
Hell if we know. Unfortunately, the supposedly affordable theater got torn down like a few miles away from us.
No, that's true. Okay.
But, oh god, that means gentrification has come to take this theater away as well.
What?
I don't know what I'm saying.
Okay.
Well, okay, and
All in all,
thank fucking Christ that Guillermo was not attached to this movie.
well, he produced it. That's about it.
Well, but then again, George Lucas also produced Howard the Duck.
He directed it, didn't he?
No, he produced it.
He
produced it, not had anything involved with either directing or writing it. Just producing.
I swear he produced or he directed it.
Nope.
I'm gonna have to look that up later.
I will take...
Either
I will bet you again, which you never accept any of my bets because you know that I win them.
You know, and here's the thing with Guillermo Del Toro. I know I get a lot of shit for not liking what's widely considered to be his best movie, Pan's Labyrinth. But I mean, my problem with him more than anything is that when it comes to visuals, like the guy is top of the line, best in his class. But in the writing department, he likes to try and blend genres a lot. And I don't think he's that good at it because I've seen, like, you know, Pan's Labyrinth tries to be kind of a malicious drama, military drama. Why did I say military drama with like a fantasy element to it, and it just doesn't work. I've seen like The Devil's Backbone 2, which tries to be an academic drama with a horror story. It just doesn't work. Movies like Hellboy, especially Hellboy 2 and Pacific Rim, I think are some of his better movies because they're focused. He doesn't try to blend anything together. He just focuses on one thing. And while I don't think either Hellboy or Pacific Rim is perfect, they're some of the better movies I've seen from him. But then again, I also haven't seen like Crimson Red or Shape of Water.
Crimson Peak.
Crimson Peak. Crimson Red, that's a very redundant title.
Red Rum.
So, yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll get to see
we still have to see The Shape of Water.
Yeah,
the fucking Oscar winner of which that's actually still baffling that won this year's Oscar or the previous year, whatever. But yeah, it's so glad that Guillermo didn't have anything to do with the direction or the writing in this, and it definitely shows because, well, like I described before, the action scenes don't have any grandiose or spectacle to them.
They don't
at all
the intensity of the first one either.
Exactly,
because piloting the Jaegers is too easy, and killing kaijus is too easy, and of course, never a bad time for a joke. I
really didn't like it because of its jumbled plot, as well as its incredibly inconsistent directing, and almost having pretty much having extreme little investment in your characters and little investment in your action scenes because you went the Transformers route and just had them do more cool flippy shit instead of trying to do more ingenuitive ways that were well, okay, not necessarily perfected in the first one, because the main inconsistency of the first one was, not breaking out the incredibly powerful sword right away.
Or not opening your attack with your long-range weapon while you're at a distance.
True.
But, you know, we could tear into some of the world-building aspects of this like my dad did. Like, he kind of ruined the first one for me with that. But all in all, I mean, if you want a movie like this, I'd say just stick to the original. You don't have to see this again. There's not enough new here to really to make it worth seeing. It's when it's not being derivated, it's just being stupid.
And also they rely on so much exploitation. Like they have to explain so much from the first movie and just have to constantly keep making drawbacks to it that it already doesn't have enough substance on its own to be its own film. It's just still... I told this to a few of the people that were still sitting, waiting for an Easter egg. I told them, this is the perfect definition of sequelitis. Or diagnosis, whatever.
Yeah. I don't recommend this, I'm sorry. Watch the original again, or I don't know, find one of the many watch one of the many giant robot animes out there if you're into that. Or watch I Kill Giants, maybe, if you're feeling ambitious. I haven't seen that yet, but it's getting good reviews across the board, and it's sounds more interesting. I don't know.
Okay, just acting on a front, I didn't think anybody was that bad, aside from maybe Charlie Day, only because he's the real true bad guy. Blah. Why are we scared of this tiny man? But John Boyega performed fine, I think. Everyone. Geez, I didn't even know Scott Eastwood was still around. But. He didn't even know John Boyega was Finn from Star Wars.
Someone told me. I know. I mean, I realize now it was just a joke, but someone told me that no, he's not Finn. You think all black people look the same? You racist bastard. It's like, okay, fine. I'm sorry. I guess he's not. And then I find out, it really was Finn. So I was right.
So then just give him one of these when next time you see him.
Yes, I know. He was messing with me. It was a joke. He was black too.
Wait, not the same black person we know.
No,
okay.
Someone else. It was one of my coworkers.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, we're going a little bit over, but I gotta get this out. I talked to one of my coworkers recently, and she asked me, "Hey, did you see that movie Kidnapped?" I'm like, "Yes, I did." He's like, "Wasn't it great?" Like, you just fucking messing with me now? I was like, no, I really liked it. Like, no, you didn't. Like, yeah, it was. Halle Berry was a badass. And I realized you're not fucking kidding with me. It's like, no, I really liked it. Oh God. Well, and then I explained. This is where it gets worse. I explained to her, it was between seeing that and the Emoji Movie, so I went to go see that instead. He's like, the Emoji Movie was good too. No, it wasn't. You're fucking lying to me. It's like, you didn't even see it, did you? He's like, oh yes, I did. It's the one with the yellow balls with legs and stuff. That was good. My favorite scene was the dancing bit. That was funny.
That was one of the worst bits of the entire movie because it's on an outdated app.
You're being serious with me right now.
No, you're fucking trolling me right now. That's what you should have told her.
And she's like, "Yeah, why are you looking at me like that?" It's like, I refuse to believe a human being liked that movie willfully.
Thank God the Emoji Movie won the Razzie from last year for Worst Picture.
Fuck.
At least that can calm you down.
No, because Mother was also nominated too, which I felt...
That's just batshit insanity, though.
Yeah. Oh well.
Hey, at least when we saw that movie Mother, we were laughing most of the time, or at least I was.
At some point, I just had to laugh from how absolutely ridiculous it gets.
What the fuck is going on? People are smashing shit, stealing shit, squatting in the house.
One of the ending sequences is, no joke, goes from them having a delightful dinner together to fucking tear gas and riot police.
and the followers eating their baby.
Oh fuck. Yeah, so I think we said everything that needs to be said. I don't know what we're seeing next.
Ready Player One.
We're gonna see Ready Player One.
Yeah, we're hopefully gonna go in a big screening of it because I have high hopes for this.
I'm very cautiously,
wildly accelerating.
I don't know. I'm getting very mixed reception from, like, in my opinion, trusted sources, not just about the movie itself, but also the book in which it's based on.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'll try to keep an open mind going into it, and then, if we can, I'd really like to see the Isle of Dogs.
Yeah, because
Hipster? No, I'm just a big fan of Fantastic Mr. Fox. It's that kind of Wes Anderson. And then,
don't get me wrong, I love Fantastic Mr. Fox too, but Wes Anderson is the hipster Jesus. That's all he is.
That's a really narrow-minded view of his movies, but okay, fine. And then I'll just put this out here now for you. If we can get to it, we might see Cock Blockers.
Oh, God. Oh, no. A movie with a fucking title called Cock Blockers. I'm not even calling it Blockers because they have a fucking rooster picture in their title. They know what they're fucking saying.
So it should have gone for, like, the Rooster Teeth route, because, Rooster Teeth means cockbite, so call it, like, I don't know, Hen Wall or like Rooster Gate.
I don't know, but yeah, that's getting 90% on Rotten Tomatoes at the moment.
A Trainwreck also got somewhere around there, so anything's possible.
And okay,
both those movies feature John Cena.
John Cena was one of the only funny parts about Trainwreck. Him and LeBron James.
I wouldn't say he's funny. He was just the most enjoyable aspect because he was the only character that told Amy to fuck off.
No, I thought he was actually funny though.
I personally didn't, but that's okay. I just like the bit where he tells Amy, "Fuck you, Amy. You're mean." It's like, thank you. Is the only character that does that.
All right. Well. Until then.
Yeah, we'll see you guys.
Later days.
Whoa, what's with the spray paint, man?
What's with your outfit, man?
Why don't we put the curtains back up?
No. What is going on up here?
I never know, man.
Daylight.
Yeah, I like that.
Dayman.
Dayman.
Fighter of the night, man. Champion of the sun. You're a master of karate
And friendship for everyone.
A dayman, that's it.
Dayman.
Fighter of the night, man.
Champion of the sun.
You're a master of karate and friendship for everyone. Dayman.
Dayman. Nice, we'll get the...
Fighter of the night, man. Champion of the sun.